Alright, welcome to another exciting class. My name still remains Femi Michael, and of course, today we are touching something quite sensitive. Of course, I know I'm very familiar with the topic tag. Okay? I know you are also very familiar. In fact, I know almost everybody has come across this topic one way or the other. But today we're going to be touching word exceptions. Okay? I know that if I begin to ask you to talk about the rules of tag, you tell me that a question tag is a mini expression or a mini statement that carries a question. And of course that question demands an answer. But today we're not delving into that particularly. And some of you know that the two major rules is that when you have a negative statement, you have to have a positive question, and then you have to have a negative answer. Okay, if the rule does not follow this, we're supposed to have a positive statement, negative question, and of course positive answer. Now, this rule, it is not all the tag that follows this rule. Okay, hence is the topic a case of weird exceptions. There are some exceptions, some expressions that do not follow this. Okay, so we're touching that in a short period of time. But let me quickly touch it on the surface. Now, number one, first thing I'll be touching here today is the conjugation. Conjugation of verbs in weird formats. Then the second thing I'll be touching is the same way question tag. Okay? Now, conjugation of verbs in weird format. Look at this. Do you know that when a statement is made, for instance, he is a boy? It's a simple statement, right? Your question comes immediately after this expression. Most times you see isn't he, because we have boy here. Then your answer will be yes, he is. Lovely. I like that. It's quite simple, right? But if you look at it, have you observed that in every of the tags we have, when we want to ask the question, we use the verb to conjugate the question. Look at this. We are men. What will be the question? Of course, aren't we? And then you have what? Yes, we are. If you observe, we are. Someone is asking Mr. Femi, is this A-R-E? Is this a verb? Of course it's a verb. It comes under the category of the verb to be. Verb to be. Okay, this verb to be permits me to use informal expressions. When someone says waiting in be, that is what is he. Okay, the verb to be. When we conjugate this verb to be, we have is. Okay? We have the past of is as was, and we have where when it's plural. Okay? He is a boy. Waiting in be, he is a boy. Okay? What is he or what was he? He was a boy. For instance, if you are Bobrisky, you were a boy. Okay? Or now he's a man. He was a boy. Now he is a man. Okay? Where? The past. Do you get that? Now we also have the verb to do. You conjugate that verb to do. Okay, we still have A-R-E here, to show that this is plural, this is singular, this is past singular, this is past plural. Okay, the verb to do. Okay, we have the word do itself in the present, we have did in the past, we have does, singular, continuous. Okay, of course, do can also be singular continuous. Okay, we have didn't. That's past negative. Okay, we have doesn't. When it's singular, negative. A singular continuous negative. So when you conjugate it, we have don't. That's plural, continuous, negative. Now, under this do verb, we have some other words that show action. They come under the do. For instance, when you have sing, you have shout, you have run or run or cry, etc. Any word that shows action, they fall under this do verb. That's why you see sometimes when someone says he cries a lot, following the rule that says it is a verb we use, shouldn't we just simply say cries int he, as in cries int he? But we can't use it that way. We have to look for the group of verb that these cries belong to. These cries belong under the do verb. That is why you see most times your question will be, doesn't he? Look at it here. Where is it? Does. Singular. He. One person. Singular. Doesn't he cry? And then you have yes. He does. Singular. One person. He does. So that is how we conjugate the question itself. Do you understand? But we have some weird cases where you expect that, okay, this one is not in the class of words that we can put under. It belongs directly under the do or under the be. But when you conjugate, it does not follow. Mr. Femi, what are you saying? Let me show you an example of what I'm talking about. All right? Now, come back to the very beginning. Having explained that we use the verb to conjugate the question, look at this. The verb to be. I want you to write it down. You have is, are, was, were, am, aren't, wasn't, weren't, isn't. Okay? It is. Verb to have. Okay? Has, have, had, hasn't, haven't, then, hadn't. This is both in the positive and the negative sense. Then verb to do. Okay? You have do, did, didn't, does, do, don't, and other verbs that show action. Can you see that? Now, we're now going to translate these into questions. So you see the ones I'm trying to point out as the weird ones. Okay? Look at this. I am a man. You must pray 5 times daily. Okay? It never rains here. No one ever likes yam. Now let's put beans. Okay? You ought to pray Okay? You ought. You dare not sing. Now looking at this expression, normally since you have the expression I am a man, we want to conjugate the expression, the question. I told you that we use the verb. Now the question to ask yourself is, what is the verb in this expression I am a man? It's an indirect verb. It means there's no direct action happening. You don't need to perform any action to be a man. By nature, you are a man. So there's no direct action. If I had said, I made myself a man, it means I did something so that I can become a man. Is that not so? So that made would be the verb. But here, I am a man. This am is the verb. It belongs under what category? The verb to be. But when we conjugate the question, you won't say amn't I. There are several cases where I look at some textbooks and I hear some teachers teach, they say amn't is correct. Well, I don't know about that, but it's ungrammatical. In the sense that I'll expound this or expose this to you when I treat the topic concord. These belong to the category of pronouns, okay, that are singular, but they behave as though they are what? Plurals. So usually they take plural verbs, okay? So when you're looking at it, this am, the plural of am is are. And that is why we have aren't I. It's very weird. It's a weird exception. So instead of saying aren't I or isn't it, no. The correct expression of the word aren't I. I am a man. Aren't I? Yes, I am. So Mr. Femi, why is it aren't? That's simply because I belongs to the category of pronouns, singular pronouns that behave as though they are what? Plurals. So they usually take the plural verb in the inverse form. Okay? Now, you must pray 5 times daily. Now, everyone will expect that this should be Muslims. But this is a statement of need. Okay? So when you are conjugating this into what the tag or the question, it won't take mustn't any longer. The negative of must is what? Needn't. Therefore, you must pray 5 times daily. Then the question will be needn't you? Because you need to. Okay? It's not something we negotiate. Muslims must pray. When you have must, it's more like something you can't do without. Okay, so when it's a question of need, we use this must to show that it is imperative. Pray 5 times. The negative will what? Needing to. Okay? It never rains here. Here, never. This never rain here is a question that suggests whether something happens all the time or not. Okay, so the statement here would be, does it rain here at all? No, it never rains here. No one ever likes beans. Now look here, whenever you say no one, nobody, somebody, etc. When we're conjugating the verb, the pronoun that we use will be what? They. Okay? So no one ever likes beans. We can't say likings be. No. It will be what? Today. Because this likes is a verb. Okay? Today. No one ever likes beans. Today. You ought to pray. You ought to pray. This ought is a verb. An action performed. So it will be what? Don't you? You ought to pray, don't you? You dare not sing. What you have there is what? Do you? Or can you? That's what you have there. Okay, so rather than say daring you, or dare you, what you have there is what? Do you? Okay, because they belong under the what? The do verb. Alright, so that's the first case of the weird exception. Now the second exception is when you have the same way question tag. Same way question tag. Now this type of question tag, they are the type that when you make a positive statement, you don't need a negative question. The question will still be positive, and then your answer will be what? Positive. So from the statement to the question to the answer, everything is either positive or true or negative or true. Okay, so when you have same way questions, the statements usually has an exclamation using OH and SO. So when you give an exclamation by saying oh, or you give an explanation by saying so, and then you have your statement in front of it, by the time you are conjugating your question, it will still follow the same format. Mr. Femi, what are you saying? Look at this. Oh, you are intelligent. The question tag will be here. Okay? Most people will go ahead and pick aren't you. Oh, you are intelligent. Aren't you? You fail it. The correct expression here is oh, you are intelligent. Are you? Mr. Femi, how? Let me tell you where your own answer comes in. When you remove this O, you are intelligent. Then you can say aren't you? Do you get? But when you have O as an exclamation at the beginning, separated by a comma, then a statement, you put your expression in the positive. Look at this. So, you play the guitar. Can someone help us with this? The answer will be, do you? So, you play the guitar. Rather than saying, don't you would have worked if you had said, there is no exclamation at the beginning. You just say, you play the guitar. It will be, don't you? You understand what I'm driving at? But when you now put an exclamation, S-O, so, it's a weird exception. It's a kind of exception that looks so weird, but it's a trap in your exam. If you go back to your past question, you see example of this. And then people go ahead and pick, don't you, aren't you, and then you come out of the exam, my guy, how was the exam? And I say, my brother, I threw the thing for I. Sorry for using the informal expression, but I'm trying to make it much more relative. And then I'll be, okay, what do you pick in number 2 and 3? Say, that question, oh, you are intelligent. The answer is aren't you now. Don't you know, when you have negative statement, it must be positive, then negative. Okay? And when it is positive, it must be negative, then positive. No. In this case, the exception is exclamation plus the statement, then you have a positive expression. So, from the very beginning to this point, those are the examples of what? Weird exception. So, I hope that, but the way I've explained, if you have questions, I think your questions will most likely be tailored around first, how to conjugate the question itself. And I've explained that we use the verbs to conjugate the expressions. Do you get that? And of course, I said if you want to be able to conjugate properly, you will need to have an understanding. Okay? You have to get the gamut of the verb to be, the verb to have, and the verb to do. I've done that already, and I've given examples on how to use them. But I gave examples of some weird exceptions here, and I told you that the negative of am is not amn't, it is aren't. The negative of must is not mustn't, it is what? Needn't. Now look at this, I said it never rains here. This never shows that it shows a variation of something, whether it does or not. So does it will be your question tag. No one ever likes beans. No one here, somebody, nobody, everybody, they fall under the category where we put them as what? They. You can say they never like beans. So today, you ought to pray. It's not oughting to, it is don't you. You dare not sing. Do you? Or can you? Can you sing when your father is there? You dare not. Okay? Now, same way question tag. That's the second exception. the statement usually has an exclamation using O and so. So whenever you have O at the beginning of an expression and it follows that way, your question must be positive. For instance, oh, you are intelligent. Most people will go with aren't you, it is wrong. It's wrong because we already have O as an exclamation at the beginning and so as an exclamation at the beginning. If we didn't put this one, we didn't put so, then you can read the expression as you are intelligent, then you will say aren't you. But because O is already there, it's the same way. That's what we call the same way question tag. The same way you said it is the same way you ask the question. Oh, you are intelligent. Are you? So, you play the guitar. Do you? You are seeking a kind of response. Do you get that? Therefore, when you have the exclamations, it falls under what? Weird exception. So, I'm going to proceed now to giving you one or two questions. Let's see if what I've taught truly have gone down into our books and our mind. Okay, so quickly follow me to write these questions. Look at this. Number one. The cows graze here every morning. Okay? The rich also need the poor. You dare not look your teacher in the eye. So, you sing quite well. Oh, you are the boy in question. All right, so are we ready? Okay, I believe you are set. Now, the cows graze here every morning. The cows. This is already plural, so we use the. You can simply say they graze here every morning. Now, but we know that we have to use the verb to conjugate the question. Now, this graze belong under which category of words, of verbs? This is under the do verb. Why? Because this graze means they are eating. They're doing something. It's under the do. So you can't say grazing today. You have to use the do verb to conjugate it. Do you understand? The cows graze here every morning. Your question would have been do they, but we already have a positive statement. Therefore, the question must be negative. I hope you remember. Therefore, it will be don't they. Can you see that? The rich also need the poor. This is statement of what is expected. Okay? It's not really necessary. Okay, but they also need. Okay, so the question is conjugated under the do verb. It will be don't they. The rich is a group of people, so we can conjugate them in the plural. I mean, in the pronoun form as they. They also need the poor, don't they? Yes, they do. Okay, you dare not look your teacher in the eye, do you? So, you sing quite well. Do you? Oh, you are the boy. Why do you use do here? Because this sing is under the verb do. Action. Singing. When you're singing, you are doing something, right? So we use that verb do to conjugate. So I already explained here that once you have so at the beginning, your expression will go the same way the question will be. Okay? You have the exclamation oh. Put it like this, put it like this. Oh, you are the boy in question. Are you? Alright, so with this being said, I believe that we strongly understand the details or the nitty-gritty of these weird exceptions. Any other questions will be attended to in the course of the webinar. Thanks so much for listening.